Okay, we're up and running. Hit that like, everybody, so I can get started. Woo! Come on.
I'm your huckleberry.
That's right.
I'm just a happy camper.
Hail to the king, baby.
All I'm offering is the truth.
Stop breaking the law, asshole!
Did have shade.
Nice. Not thrilling, but nice.
Oh, yes. So ready. Hold on. Me too. 1 second. Where's that button? Let's just get started, because I got a lot of show to do and not a lot of time. Hi. How are you? Welcome. Sorry I'm a little late getting started. I had to do a restart, as I am sometimes wont to do. Welcome, Sparklers and everybody in the chat. Glad you guys could be here. Very excited. Don't forget to hit the like. Annoy all the maggots around you. Do everything you can to needle them for the next 4 years, I would say, because they won't really change until they feel squeezed, as it were, and they're not getting any pressure from our side. They're getting it all from one side. So I think we gotta reinforce that side of it a little bit, you know, because right now, I mean, to be completely frank, a bunch of them, you know, maggots all over the place are, I mean, I guess there are a few of them that are like reveling in California fires because somehow it's a symbol of liberal failure in a way that like recurring Florida hurricane damage isn't exemplary of, I don't know, Republican leadership for decades. Like we have one fire that, you know, that breaks out and is extraordinary, certainly, you know, once in a century kind of a thing. And that's indicative of, you know, how it's been forever, right? Whereas the continued returning damage in all these areas that, you know, in red states, that part, you know, that's just God mad at gays or something. That's just, if women would stop having abortions, we wouldn't have all these hurricane problems in Florida, you know. Meanwhile, I guess they are somehow to blame for women's abortions are somehow to blame for these California fires, although they've been doing it for a long time. So I guess he's just getting around to it, you know. Maybe that's it. Maybe God, you know, I would imagine he's got a lot on his plate, especially considering the galaxy isn't expanding like according to the Hubble, or not the Webb telescope. It's not, you know, I don't know if it's breathing and it's moving in and out, or there's large gaps and it's flying. I don't know. There's so much going on. So obviously God's like, oh shit, they're looking, and he's like flicking planets around to make them move faster. So whatever. Anyways, it is, yeah, it's, ladies, it's all your fault. Whatever it is, apparently. And Angela, we will send you prayers. Absolutely. Much love to you. Feel it coming right now. If I do deep down into... Hold on. I have to do the proper... I'm going to do it. I mean, I got to... yeah. Lord, Lord, we impeach you in this moment to prognosticate and fornicate upon the very ground of your magnificent pontifications, and reach deep down into yourself and grab a hold of the coccyx of humanity and flick it a little bit, give it a tingle, and deliver us, if not from evil, right into the middle of it where the fun stuff is. Amen. Hallelujah. Pass the mashed potatoes. All right. I spent a good portion of today, obviously, watching the Pete Hegseth Kabuki Theater. And it was abundantly clear that now there is a strategy whenever either side wants to get their nominee through. That what you do is you take all these recommendations or positive articles or supporting documents or whatever, and you have a stack of them. And then when your people deliver a talking point around one of the things, you've got a document like it, everybody in my state of Missouri happens to like this gentleman because he does such and such, and we got a lot of military bases there, whatever. And they get through the whole point there. And then the chairman goes, I would like to enter into the record how everybody in Missouri likes this fella, and with this article about how in the Missouri had heralded, but not the Congress or the senator themselves, the actual chairperson. That happens on occasion, and there's usually a few of these things, but this is a strategy. Like, the Republicans realize that they're going to have to work very hard to get Pete Hegseth through. They're not doing a second round. They probably aren't doing a third. They're counting, I think, on a few of the Republicans to just, be afraid to not vote for the dude. And I don't know. Anyways, this is, I'll show you what his opening statement. And by the way, hit that like, share the show. It's HAL SPARKS Mega Worldwide, the greatest live stream in the history of live streams. I think a dude is yelling and flapping around. Yeah, they drag some dude out of there at the beginning of this.
You are a misogynist. Not only that, you are a Christian Zionist.
Okay, he says you're a misogynist. Not only that, you are a Christian Zionist. Okay, what he means is a white nationalist or a Christian nationalist, I suppose. A Christian Zionist is just kind of an overlapping phrase that won't really hit home. I think he was, it's a little hard. Sometimes you forget your lines when you're being manhandled and marched out of there. Overall, so anyways, he just decides to wet his whistle with straight vodka, I think, while waiting for the guy to be let out.
I want to thank the authorities for their swift reaction.
Hi, dummy. You're all authorities. These are the authorities. This is the government actually itself. They aren't the authorities. Those people don't have authority over something else. It's not. You didn't call the authorities. You are the authority. That's security. Whatever.
To that outburst.
I mean, I guess you could say authorities instead of saying Capitol Police because your side of the aisle fucking hates the Capitol Police. So maybe that's why he said authorities.
And state that similar interruptions will be treated in like manner. Mr. Hegseth, you may continue.
Well, as I'll say again, thank you for figuratively and literally having my back. I pledge to do the same for all of you.
Wait, sorry. I guess, hold on. Is the top of this? Yeah. This was the second start after he started up. Get back out of here, you goofball. Because this guy comes in. Hold on. Yeah, here you go. This is his intro.
That the committee asked fund laws come of the confirmation. Site responsibilities make us receive reports. Do you agree to provide records, documents, and electronic communications in a timely manner when requested by this committee, its subcommittees, or other appropriate committees of Congress, and to consult with the requester regarding the basis for any good faith by this committee to hearing witnesses?
Yes, sir.
Or briefings?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Okay. And then he gives his.
So
he makes his
so
statement.
at this point, Mr. Hegseth, you are recognized for your opening statement.
By the way, Wicker is now the Armed Services Committee chair. They've taken over from the Dems to the Republicans. This is his first time running it.
Well, thank you, Chairman Wicker, Ranking Member Reed, and all the members of this committee for this opportunity today. I'm grateful for and have learned a great deal from this advise and consent process. Our founders knew what they were doing. Should I be confirmed, I look forward to working with this committee, senators from both parties, to secure our nation. I want to thank the former senator from Minnesota, Norm Coleman, for his mentorship and friendship in this process.
Norm Coleman made a statement on his behalf.
And the incoming National Security Advisor, Congressman, and more importantly for our purposes, Colonel Mike Waltz, for his powerful words. I'm grateful to them both. Thank you to my incredible wife, Jennifer.
The third one, by the way.
Who has changed my life.
My incredible third wife.
And been with me throughout this entire process.
Not the first two marriages and the other baby, but sure.
I love you, sweetheart, and I thank God for you.
Why are you saying that facing forward?
And as Jenny and I pray together every morning.
Because she won't let me out of the kitchen without doing it.
All glory, regardless of the outcome, belongs to our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. His grace.
Yes, in case you don't know who he is, he's the turn the other cheek, love thy neighbor, love the enemy as yourself. Kind of, I know, you're thinking, why in this particular is right.
And mercy abounds each day. May his will be done. Thank you to my father, Brian.
Maybe that's what drove the guy to yell that part.
Brian and Mother Penny, as well as our entire family, including our 7 wonderful kids, Gunnar, Jackson, Peter Boone, Kensington, Luke, Rex. Sorry, it's a lot of them.
Yeah, that didn't work well. It's not cute. Because they're not all yours, dum-dum. I mean, they're not all hers, rather. They're all yours. They're not all hers.
And Gwendolyn. Their future safety and security is in all of our hands. And to all the troops and veterans watching and here in the room, Navy SEALs, Green Berets, soldiers, pilots, sailors, Marines, Gold Stars, and more, too many friends to name. Officers, enlisted, black and white, young and old, men and women, all Americans, all warriors. This hearing is for you. Thank you for figuratively and literally having my back.
You are a misogynist.
You are a misogynist, I say.
Only that, you are a Christian Zionist. And you support the war in Gaza by the Zionists.
I just heard it sounded like Obama and something Zionist, but that's not what he said.
I want to thank the authorities for their swift reaction.
So this brings us where we were.
To that outburst, and state that similar interruptions will be treated in like manner. Mr. Hegseth, you may continue.
Well, as I'll say again, thank you for figuratively and literally having my back.
Mostly figuratively, though.
I pledge to do the same for all of you. It's an honor to come before this committee today as president.
Unless, of course, he views you as a Democrat or a leftist or any of the other words he has, in which case you're the enemy and a traitor and you must be dealt with.
President Donald Trump's
I'm splitting hairs.
Nominee for the office of Secretary of Defense. 2 months ago, 77 million Americans gave President Trump a powerful mandate for change.
No, they gave him about half the margin that Hillary Clinton got.
To put America first, at home and abroad. I want to thank President Trump for his faith in me and his selfless leadership for our republic. The troops have no better commander-in-chief than Donald Trump.
Well, I mean, unless you talk about, getting them out of Afghanistan, for example, or moving them from Syria to guard oil refineries in Saudi Arabia instead of bringing them home, or attempting to cut veterans benefits, but basically being unable to. So claiming credit for the VA Choice and Accountability Act of 2014.
As I've said to many of you in private meetings, when President Trump chose me for this position, the primary charge he gave me was to bring the warrior culture back to the Department of Defense.
Yeah, some macho bullshit version of war fighting.
He, like me, wants a Pentagon laser-focused on lethality,
On Jewish space lasers.
meritocracy, warfighting, accountability, and readiness.
There's the Code Pink people filming the Code Pink lady being pulled out. So they're there filming it while the other one gets led. That's the strategy for how they do this. I'm old enough to remember when Code Pink used to be a good organization. It's a little performative and pro-China for me these days, but what are you gonna do? I mean, I don't mind that they all dress like chips enough, but...
You may continue, sir.
Returning the Pentagon back to warfighting.
The Penenbaum, you know, you've met the Penenbaums, right? They're a lovely couple. They live up off of La Cienega.
That's it. That's my job.
Mr. Hegseth, suspend your remarks. Let me just say this. The Capitol Police are going to remove immediately individuals that are disrupting the hearing. I see a pattern attempted to be inflicted on the committee, and
the great pattern infliction of 2025.
And we're simply not.
So 2 things means 3, 3 means 5, 5 means 10. At this point, Wicker doesn't trust anybody in the gallery.
Not going to tolerate.
Even Hegseth's family.
Tolerate that. You may proceed.
You can go back to saying what you're saying there.
To bring back warfighting, if confirmed, I'm going to work with President Trump and this committee to, 1, restore the warrior ethos.
So something about warrior and war and worried. Now he's the SecDef, not the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, not actually a general in wartime. I mean, the Secretary of Defense is about readiness, but it's also about maintenance and caring for people, because retention's largely about the programs and availability of both funds and support for military personnel once they get out, Veterans Affairs, that kind of stuff. Basically, this warrior ethos is that, come back with your shield or upon it, and if you're too old, then we'll just put you on an ice floe or something.
To the Pentagon and throughout our fighting force. In doing so, we will reestablish trust in our military.
Again, we have trust in our military.
Addressing the recruiting crisis, the retention crisis, and readiness crisis in our ranks.
Round 3.
Members of the security.
Well, that guy went all in. That guy is being carried out. That guy didn't. Did he get a word out before they started carrying him? Holy shit. That guy's, look at him. He's fucking parallel to the floor.
Force will remove members.
I mean, I know why they don't have these folks mic'd, but I kind of like to hear what they're saying, just so I can put so I can figure out what the fuck their gripe is. But it's funny when you can't hear it, because it's like, I'm a winning lottery ticket. Like, you can't tell. Hi, Marjorie.
Mr. Hegseth,
You may speak until the next interloper.
The strength of our military is our unity and our shared purpose.
The strength of our military is our unity and our shared purpose. Now, that's the part that I think is crucial. Now, let me see if I can find this. Is it down here? Yeah, it's after this. After this one. After this one. Hold on.
choice. Maybe they love this country.
Hold on.
We need to reinvigorate our defense industrial base in this country to include a rapid fielding.
Hold on. See if we.
To project power. That
when they founded their companies either. So
Okay, yeah, this is before this. Hold on, because I want that. There's a reason why I wanted to look into that.
our shipbuilding capacity.
I didn't realize how much coke jaw he had before this. There you go. Back here. Give me a second. I can get this up and running. Here.
Senator, there are two genders.
I know that well. I'm a she/he, so I'm on board.
That's a she/he joke. He gets he, she/he jokes, and it's still got a chip on his shoulder, I guess, from what do you think, middle school?
Out of an M4 A1 rifle.
Okay, so and then he goes through and he asks him, I don't know, what he effectively thinks is like grunt stuff.
Pacific. Guam is pretty strategically significant.
How many rounds of 5.56 can you fit into the magazine of an M4 rifle?
Depends on the magazine, but standard issue is 30. Senator.
And what size round does the M9 Beretta standard issue sidearm for?
By the way, if he was running for quartermaster, this might have a point.
Military fire.
He wasn't able to answer any questions about like what countries are in the ASEAN group. He wasn't able to like differentiate AUKUS countries from our partners in the South China Seas and that kind of stuff. But he knows weekend shooter shit.
A 9mm, Senator.
What kind of batteries do you put in your night vision goggle?
Duracell.
It's so funny because because I was like, I don't remember what size they take, so I'll just say a brand or something.
So right there, you're representing qualifications that show you understand what the warfighter deals with every single day on the battlefield.
No, he doesn't, because he doesn't. They get their batteries from the quartermaster, or they get them assigned. They don't have to deal with what kind of rounds. Like, oh shit, what rounds do I put in my M4 today?
You understand what happens on the front line where our troops will be. And what happens, unfortunately, in this country is decisions made in rooms like this, bad decisions.
Oh, you mean the way our government is meant to function by the founding fathers, where we have civilian control and oversight over our military, because that's superior to dictatorships where they have like generals in charge of it, military people in charge of it, no civilian oversight. So basically what you're saying is fuck the founding fathers. Good to know. Okay, cool.
End up in dead 17, 18, 19-year-old Americans. And those Americans rarely come from families that sit in rooms like this. They come from lower middle-income families who sometimes the military is their only way out. And they join because maybe they want to go to college. Maybe they had no other choice. Maybe they love this country. But for whatever reason, they joined and they sat on the dotted line. And when people like us screw up, they don't come home.
Yeah, but even when you do the right thing, sometimes they don't come home.
And that's the one thing that I care about. Is you remember when I shut the door, when you came with your entourage, Senator Coleman, I've known for a long time, and you and I sat together and asked you one question. You remember what that question was?
Are you going to have the backs of the warfighters?
Exactly.
No.
What is going to be your number one priority? And I don't care, frankly, what all these letters and articles say. I've been
reading. What are we fighting for? So we can do more reading?
Been part of a smear campaign too. I get it.
No, they're not.
I care that you're going to have one thing in mind when you sit in that chair in that 5-sided building, and you told me what that was. So with that, you have my support. I'm sorry you have to go through a process like this, but it is one of the most important jobs in the world.
So it should be difficult to get, maybe?
We got to make sure you're ready for it. I thank you for your answers. I got one final question that's very important to me. This is more of a technical question, but I think it's to fix the Army in this country. is a 1 or 2 year problem. We can make bullets, we can make rifles. Fix the Air Force might be a 5-year problem. To fix our Navy is a decades-long pursuit. How are you going to fix our national? You don't have all the power. We're not China. Unfortunately, you can't snap your fingers. But how are you going to
unfortunately
lead an initiative when the DoD?
Unfortunately, according to Tim Sheehy, Republican from Montana, a state with fewer people in it than Santa Monica, California, and Venice, he thinks it's sad we're not China.
To reinvigorate our national shipbuilding industry so we are able to compete with China, because freedom of navigation is critical to our economy and the global economy. It's going to be a very important task for you to complete.
It's a critical question, Senator, and that's why I'm grateful that President Trump has said definitively to me and publicly that shipbuilding will be one of his absolute top priorities of this administration. So a lot of it does...
Because he wants one named after him.
...go into pulling things up into the OSD's office, Secretary of Defense's office, to shine a spotlight on it, to make sure the bureaucracy doesn't strangle important initiatives that need to happen. We need to reinvigorate.
We need the ship version of the F-35. That's what he means.
Invigorate our defense industrial base in this country to include our shipbuilding capacity. Some of it is on the...
Sorry, didn't he give a big shipbuilding contract to Wisconsin to try and win their votes? And what the fuck? Are they not making anything?
Some of it's on the West, some of it's on the Great Lakes. The workforce problems that our shipyards are facing are significant, and there's been a big investment from this committee, I know, in a lot of those places because of the shortfalls, manpower issues, everything else. But we also see adversaries that have been able to innovate themselves in ways that their shipbuilding capacity is, I won't reveal it at this hearing, multitudes and multitudes beyond our capabilities. So it needs to be a rapid investment, a rapid fielding, and then we need to incentivize outside entities to fill the gap. We talk a lot about UAVs. UAVs are very important, but there's also a future of UUVs, unmanned underwater vehicles, that will be a part of amplifying the impact of our Navy, because this administration has allowed our number of ships to drop below 300. It sets a projection of 340 or 350, but doesn't create the capacity to actually address it. And so if we're
also, and again, like they've set the timeline to build the extra ships, and they haven't been built yet. So the idea is that because Biden extended the number of ships we're going to have, and they haven't reached it yet, that's somehow it's fucking stupid.
We're going to defend our interests, our allies, and put America first. We're going to have to be able to project power. That means shipbuilding. It means historic investments in.
Why? Where are we going to dock them? You guys want to draw back the number of U.S. bases around the world? Where are you going to park them?
Our defense industrial base there. And then also driving innovation and...
By the way, this is just his way of this is military jobs that he thinks that you can do safely at home. And it if you build these ships, you got to staff these ships, and it gives you an excuse to raise the Navy's budget and put more people on them. And so he can make up for some of the gaps in unemployment that are going to happen because of Trump's policies by filling them up.
Cost savings in ways that only business leaders inside the Pentagon can do.
When I'd add, I don't think any board in the world would have hired Steve Jobs or Elon Musk or Mark Zuckerberg when they founded their companies either. So this country...
Oh, this is from a question earlier about how he's only run an organization with 100 people in it. Now he's going to run the Pentagon. Also, those guys created the fucking thing. Pete Hegseth didn't dream up the Department of Defense.
It was founded by young people who had a great vision.
Yes, they started from scratch. Yes, people were a lot younger when we started this as well. Then how many people were in the fucking U.S. Navy when we started a U.S. Navy? 300?
Being willing to serve your country again. And thanks for coming here today. I yield back, Chairman.
Thank you, Senator.
Okay, hold on. Because I wanted to see where beg your pardon, 1 second, Chuck. There's a quote that I was looking for. I thought it was in that little piece here. I think it's in this chunk. Yeah. So Schmidt from Missouri just really does his best to be a total douchebag. I think this is during the part. So I'd like you to remember that the quote from earlier that the strength of our military comes from our unity.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to submit for the record a letter submitted by Mr. Christopher Ahn, the former Director of Operations for Vets for Freedom. Mr. Ahn, his letter states that the suggestion, quote, the suggestion that funds were misused for personal gain, lavish parties, or other improper purposes is categorically false.
Yeah, because he would have been on the hook for it as well, dummy.
Throughout my time working with Pete Hegseth, he consistently demonstrated exceptional integrity and leadership. I asked unanimous consent to enter the...
And at no time was I present when he had to be dragged out of a strip club for trying to assault someone or climb up on the stage and dance with the girls, which was in full view of other patrons and everybody at the party who are on the record.
Or into the record.
Without objection, so ordered. Senator Schmidt.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
So he goes into the DEI stuff. This is why.
Chairman, Mr. Hegseth, good to see you here today. Thank you for your service.
Thank you, Senator.
And your willingness to serve. I also want to thank you for your clarity in articulating the vision you have for the Department of Defense.
He doesn't have a vision for the Department of Defense. Like during this whole thing, it's just anti-DEI. Yes, anti-woke. That's his vision. That's not a vision for something. That's like a fixation on a minor aspect of modern, I don't know, the modern function of large organizations.
Restoring an ethos.
Where killing is good.
Warrior ethos.
Yeah, the warrior ethos. Sounds I'm sorry. I can't say it without my balls getting so big. It's making my pants stretch. It's warrior ethos. Which sounds like some sort of like green initiative for warriors.
Which is in stark contrast to the ethos we've seen the last 4 years, which is of...
Yeah, with this pusillanimous ethos, this liberal ethos. Psh, dare I say, no ethos whatsoever.
Weakness and wokeness.
They've been doing that too. Weakness equals wokeness. They've said that a couple of times.
And I want to drill down on a few things specifically and exactly how we've gotten to where we've gotten with recruiting and morale. DEI. There's been a little bit of discussion about this.
Yeah, nobody wants to join the military anymore because they keep trying to make them like black people, and it's really aggravating. We're having a hard time rounding up white trash to be cannon fodder because they're going to have to be respectful of minorities and the gay.
But for those watching at home, DEI is not about giving everybody opportunity. It is rooted in cultural Marxism. The idea that you pit the room, any room, with oppressor versus oppressed.
Right, that's the Marxist thing that he's pushing. Yeah, it's not, I mean, there are literally zero situations where they're trying to do like diversity training in the military where they're like, okay, black people over here, white people over here. Okay, black people, you are the oppressed. White people, you are the oppressors. Now, you guys pick up your guns and go back out and start running through the mud. Like never, ever.
It's race essentialism, and it is poison. It has no business whatsoever in our military. I think.
Well, it kind of does. I mean, on a baseline level, just it's kind of like HR training, but it just has to do with race. So you guys don't like it. I mean, for a while, you guys dodged it because you didn't have to deal with women at all, and now you have to deal with women too, and that's why you don't like it. That's what the pushback is about.
The American people have spoken loudly and clearly about this. They're tired of this. They're tired of woke ideology. And to my Democrat colleagues on the other side, if you haven't picked up on that, you missed the plot. Because that's what November 5th partially was about.
Partially. I mean, a big part of it was also Mexicans or something.
And so let's talk specifically about some of these DEI programs that have been funded. In our academies, specifically the Air Force Academy, it was advised.
Whoops. Apparently, whoever's putting his big signs up was a DEI hire. Obviously not the best and the brightest. Where is the hierarchical hiring in the staffing of the dear friend, the Republican from Missouri's office?
As disfavored language to refer to your mom and dad as mom and dad.
I mean, I would argue that if you're in the military, mother and father would be an idea. I think you would, instead of saying my mom.
Okay. Dear Mom and Dad, I'm writing home. Don't say that. That's insane. We're all...
So it's discouraged? Through what? They cut your pay if you say Mom and Dad? Or they all put soap in a sock and beat you in your bed like Private Pile in Full Metal Jacket?
Just people. You can't say that either.
You can't say we're just people, because we're not. We're more than people. We're better than people.
And in an effort to police this...
By the way, this is his extreme examples. It's discouraged to say Mom and Dad, apparently, in some Air Force training, and saying the phrase "we're just people," which I think he means is dismissing categorically, like saying it in your, I don't know, racial sensitivity training class or whatever, going, why are we even doing this shit? We're all just people, like basically ignoring the point of the entire exercise or whatever, which, again, not showing respect for where you are. It's so lame.
In a 1984 Orwellian novel.
Oh, my God, with the 1984 bullshit again.
There was actually an eyes and ears program to rat on your fellow students who might say Mom and Dad.
They might? How do you know if they might?
Or just say, in a tough situation, you know what? We're all just people.
In a tough situation. You're all standing around a dead hooker. You're the only one missing your pants. There's obviously fecal material all over the walls. You're standing there. There are lasers starting to circle on the center of your chest. And you're like, hey, we're all just people. And then what happens? I don't know, you get put in some kind of program.
Can't say that. This wasn't limited, by the way, to our academies. The Secretary of the...
I mean, it sounds terrifying.
Air Force.
The Secretary of the Air Force won't say Mom and Dad.
Our current Secretary of the Air Force, in a memo from August of 2022...
And a memo. Ouch, here it comes.
Thought we had too many white officers.
Thought we had too many white officers. Just wrote that? Is that what they said? To whom it may concern, too many crackers in this place. Is that what they wrote? That's what they wrote. We have too many white officers.
Advocated for quotas.
Advocating for quotas, which would, I guess, if you're adding people, mean you would bring in more people of color to kind of fill in the gap as opposed to too many white. So a quota, I mean, unless the quota is we need to fire some of these people and get rid of them and replace them. It's the great replacement theory of the Air Force.
And if you crunch the numbers, that meant that 5,800 white officers who've worked really hard should be fired.
Well, that sounds those are very crunchy numbers. 5,800. They have to be fired? You got to get rid of them to even it out, you mean? Or you mean as expansion comes, they want to add more people over time as other people, I don't know, retire, as positions become, I'm just fucking with you. They obviously, what they were saying was, there's too many white people and you got to fire 5,800 of them or I quit, clearly. That's clearly what the memo says.
In the United States.
And it's signed Mom and Dad.
States of America. I don't know how we got here.
I don't know where you are.
And by the way, the Air Force isn't alone here. The Navy sort of touted a drag queen influencer.
Sort of touted them? I don't know. Why didn't they go all in? Why would you sort of tout? If the whole thing is overrun with cultural Marxism and the Biden administration's all in it, why would you even sort of? I'm surprised Hegseth wasn't forced to appear in drag because Biden's still president.
This stuff is insane.
Sure, but I would also can you, hold on. Secretary of Air Force, too many white people. Let's see how about this. Did U.S. Air Force order reducing white male serving by 33%? Let's see. This be okay. Did the U.S. Air Force Secretary order reducing white male serving by 33%? This would be the crunchy numbers that we're talking about. Gee, I wonder what the answer to this question is. What do you think? Just no. In an August 9th, 2022 memo, U.S. Air Force Secretary Frank Kendall directed Air Force and Space Force officials to develop a plan to meet diversity goals in recruiting officer applicants. The goal was for 67.5% of officer applicants to be white and the rest minorities. The goal will not be used in any manner that undermines our merit-based processes, which this is the all things being equal part of it. Glenn Grother, who represents Eastern Wisconsin, included the memo in a statement he issued in March 19. Said white male serving ordered cutting white male serving by 33%. The memo did not order reductions at all. Data cited by Grothman's office did not show the goals would reduce white males serving by 33%. As of December 31st, 2023, 76.1% of Air Force and Space Force officers were men, and 69% of them were white. Of all members were white, which is like, whatever, 10% above baseline. No, Eric shit. So fucking lame.
People wonder why recruiting has dropped off. And
I don't know, because you guys are saying fuck brown people who want to join.
And let me just go through a few numbers, then I want to get your comments on how we
well, you haven't even gone through the numbers you've presented.
Fix this, because it's gone complete.
Also, people are like, white males love to play victim, and white males I would like to say for the record, I am a white male, so don't drag me down with this motherfucker. Why am I on the hook for this piece of shit? How does that work?
Completely off the rails.
And I don't want to hear you're one of the good ones either.
2022, the Army missed their recruiting goal of 60,000 soldiers by over 15,000. In 2023, the Navy missed their
60,000 by 15,000. So they, okay, 45,000. All right, or sorry, 55,000. No, 45,000. Beg your pardon. 60,000 overall. They missed by 15.
Recruiting goals by over 7,000.
They missed the goal by 7, so they came up short, but they recruited the other ones. Okay.
In 2022, the Air Force couldn't meet their standards, their numbers, even though they lowered their standards.
But how did they lower their standards? Like less white. What was the standard? What did they lower?
They've lowered their standards to meet numbers they still can't get to. Mr. Hegseth, we got to fix this.
Oh, I think this is like obesity issues more than anything else, or people like, again, there were more jobs available than ever, and employment was going through the floor because wages were going up. So they're always competing against the private sector too.
I think what you've demonstrated today is that you have the talent and the ability and
he has the talent
and the desire to fix it. How are you going to fix it?
You have the desire to do it, but what?
Well, Senator, thank you for the question. First and foremost, up front, you have to tear out DEI and CRT initiatives root and branch out of institutions.
100%.
100%, bro. Bro, I'm with you. Root and branch. I love that. Elon said something like that, and that's the new shit.
And then you have to put in Army, Navy, and Air Force secretaries and others, civilian positions at the helm, who are committed to the same priorities that the President of the United States is, and if confirmed,
he means him.
Secretary of Defense will be. Send a clear message that this is not a time for equity. Equity is a very different word than equality.
By the way, they used to attack equality, and now since we switched over to equity, they're attacking equity. This is the same shit they did with liberal and progressive. For a while, like, they attack liberal as communist, and then everybody's like, okay, well, I'm a progressive, which is kind of like a Star Trek liberal. Like, I'm looking to the future. What is our future going to look like? I'm for progress for everyone. And then they attack progress as being the thing. And then they're calling themselves classic liberals now. It's a fucking word swap. None of these words mean anything to them.
Equality is the bedrock of our military. Men and women, duty positions in uniform.
He said duty.
Black, white, doesn't matter. We treat you equally based on who you are in the image of God as an individual. And we all get the same bad haircuts. You're not an individual. You're part of a group.
Sounds like communism to me.
Equity prescribes some sort of an outcome based on differing attributes that we have that divide us.
No, equity is the starting line, not the finishing line. They used to say the same thing about equality. This is so fucking lame.
Skin color are you? What gender are you? And then infuse that into institutions which manifest in things like quotas, formal or informal, which does what to morale? Sends it in the tubes. And it makes people feel like they're being judged by something other than how good they are at their job, which is poisonous inside institutions.
So on top of this recruiting crisis, that wasn't enough for this administration.
By the way, I don't know what happened to Mullins, but he's just kind of like, did they shut down? Are they changing his battery or something?
During the COVID hysteria and in their attempt to fire 100,000 people who worked for bigger companies because they didn't get the COVID shot, or to mask 5-year-olds, they decided also to make this a central plank in their policy at the Pentagon. 8,000 well-trained, so we got a recruiting crisis, 8,000 well-trained men and women were fired. Will you commit today, Mr. Hegseth?
This is, 8,000 out of our giant standing army, and they weren't discharged because they wouldn't take the vaccine for religious reasons. They wouldn't take the vaccine for physical reasons. They were just unwilling to follow orders. So, bye.
Yeah, Hegseth, to recruit.
What's the next thing they're going to say no to when they're ordered to go to do this? Sorry, but like, isn't that part of why we respect members of our military? Because they do like hand over their health and safety to the greater good in the first place? That's an extraordinary thing to do. But they're like, well, I don't know, that shit, fuck that.
Recruit these folks.
I'm not crying. That's but I got a line. I'm not going back. You mean you'd stop like the president from attacking protesters, or you know, you're against him suspending, you know, habeas corpus? No. I just don't want to get the shot because I plan on being a prepper after this is over. Because me and my buddies are forming kind of like a Timothy McVeigh club.
Back to give them back pay and give them an apology from the United States government for how they were disrespected.
Senator, I will commit to this because the Commander-in-Chief has committed to this, that not only will they be reinstated, they will receive an apology, back pay, and rank that they lost because they were forced out due to an experimental vaccine.
Thank you.
Experimental vaccine. Oh, so it's because of Operation Fart Steed? Is that what we're gonna? That's what we blame. Hold on, this is important.
Captain's log.
But I'm a limited time, but I just want to say, for all the talk of experience and not coming from the same cocktail parties that permanent Washington is used.
Fuck off, dude. He works at Fox News. He went to Princeton. He hung out at Mar-a-Lago all the time because he was on Fox News. Stop with this fucking man of the streets bullshit. None of these guys are like that. We need real people who know what it's like to be in the trenches. The trenches of what? Fox News' headquarters is in New York.
You are a breath of fresh air.
You are. You're like a downy dryer sheet in a suit.
And again, if you weren't paying attention to what this election was all about, it was about the disruptors versus the establishment.
Yeah, we established these truths to be self-evident. That establishment, the constitutional establishment that is the bedrock of this country, versus, I don't know, asshole revolutionaries who just want to start from scratch because they don't like everybody getting an equal shot. Okay.
And the American people have had enough of business as usual for the same people that we line up for these same jobs who give us the same results. We need somebody who's going to go in there and...
Sorry, the same results? You mean all during the first Trump term? You didn't get somebody new, dummy.
Fight for innovation, fight...
Did he say anything different about how he wanted... This is the same rhetoric he used the first time he was in.
For change. I think you're that person, and I appreciate your willingness to sit here and listen to some of these undignified attacks.
Undignified attacks? Why? Because they're bringing up times when he was an undignified asshole?
It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. Sick. It's just sick.
Captain Mark Kelly, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Congratulations on.
Kelly's great, by the way. These are all good. You can watch them on your own. There was one more. Hold on, let me go back. Yeah, it's this guy, maybe. Hold on. These are all the Republicans. Get in here. It's crazy.
By Tina Kingston, Louisiana State Director, and a local
today. In fact, so well that I believe it's incumbent upon this committee to confirm you ASAP to get you on the job to clean up the mess that we have at the Pentagon ongoing at this moment because of the leadership there over the last 4 years that's
ongoing
failed us. In President Biden's first year in office,
we got out of Afghanistan after everybody had been trying for 2 decades.
The Department of Defense spent over 5 million man-hours.
Oh, shit. But were they all, but was it men or was it like lady hours and gay hours? Were they real man hours? 5 million man hours? I mean, across all the people or whatever? Extrapolated across all the people working in the military entirely. I think one of the other senator, I think Reed or somebody says, yeah, this is like in the same time period, 6 billion man hours or 2 billion man hours during that time. So
on quote unquote counter extremism.
Yeah, if we'd have done that before Timothy McVeigh had built his little pack, maybe we would have saved a bunch of lives at the Oklahoma City building, right?
And diversity training, what you and I might call woke training or DEI.
Why would that be woke training or DEI? Oh, sorry, which part? That's the same?
On quote unquote counter extremism and diversity training, what you and I might call woke training or DEI.
Diversity, okay, well, or I got to be honest, if you're in a peacekeeping situation, let's say in another country, maybe awareness of cultural differences might save your life.
The administration has refused to provide us any more recent data than that first year, but we know that it's exponentially more man hours wasted.
No, you don't.
On DEI over the.
No, you don't. No, you don't. First of all, you don't know what exponentially means. Secondly, that seems like they budgeted a certain amount of time for that kind of training, and that's the period of time that they, and again, in 2022, so just in that 1 year is the idea, or over the last 5 years, or because it's not like they invented it. It's not like DEI or diversity training in the military started in 2021.
Last 4 years, and I wonder, what do you make of that? What could those 5 million man hours in that first year of Secretary Austin and President Biden's administration, what could those 5 million man hours have been used for?
Could have been fapping it, baby. Just rubbing one out. Helping troops relax at the end of a difficult day.
Senator, that's a lot of service members sitting in a lot of briefs.
For 30 minutes. It's a 30-minute brief for like once every 6 weeks for like a couple of months.
Hearing about a lot of threats or political perspectives that might be dangerous, that do not comport to threats that actually exist inside the force, or ideas that introduce critical race theory or DEI or climate change.
Or it could be that there are white supremacist groups and like Moorish American sovereign citizen groups using the military as a training base and creating, and recruiting within it that you need to know about, and
initiatives that they and their commands.
Here's a good idea. How about this? How about both of you? You're wanting to be the SecDef, and he's a senator on the fucking Armed Services Committee. Maybe don't ask. Maybe don't ask each other. Maybe figure the fuck out. Here's a good idea. I'm sure that both of you have access to the program that shows exactly what they did in those programs. Why is HAL not showing the Dems? Because they're all fine. They don't need any explanation.
have to conform to. And every time one of those happens, it gets pushed down the chain of command. That also includes
it's not being pushed down the chain of command. This is at the root level. This is when they first get recruited and they go through this stuff.
new layers of leadership that have been created under this administration committed to enforcing those types of DEI and CRT initiatives. So we...
Like what? Like what? Like what initiatives? What initiatives are you talking about? Don't just say DEI and woke initiatives. Let me hear what they are. And I don't want to hear they discouraged in one unit someone saying mom and dad for some reason that you've attached to something else. I want to know what the initiatives were. Is that too much to ask? But you can't bring it up because most people go, oh, that's pretty reasonable. That seems like they'd have to do something like that a lot.
Here, 5 million man hours, and that sounds like a lot. The more troubling aspect is how many training hours that takes away from a company commander or battalion commander or a wing commander who's out there trying to maintain their force, which is already...
How about none? Because they bring in somebody else to do it? Just like HR is a separate organization?
Constrained. Because...
Again, I would love to break this apart more and in, you know, in some way, like, go after the details of this, but I don't know that they have any.
Of what the Biden administration has done to the defense budget and defense capabilities.
I mean, raised it and improved it.
So they're having to choose between the political prerogatives of the civilians who are demanding more DEI and CRT and gender quotas, and
you mean the American people?
The readiness of their forces. And I believe this Pentagon is prepared, because of our commander-in-chief, for a Secretary of Defense, should I be confirmed, that laser focuses on these issues, and they're ready to respond. They want to pack their rucksacks and go train because they understand we live in a dangerous world.
I think that's an important point, a key point, because months later, while the priority of the Biden-Austin-led Pentagon was on DEI and woke training, one of the biggest embarrassments in American history happened when we lost 13 of our heroes in the botched withdrawal from Afghanistan.
Oh, by the way, the reason they say botched withdrawal is because the biggest thing wrong with it was that we weren't supposed to leave. Banks and all these other assholes think we should still be in Afghanistan, including Trump.
Secretary Austin testified before the House Armed Services Committee a couple of years ago, and responding to a question from me said he had, quote, no regrets about what happened in Afghanistan. I wonder, what do you make of that?
Senator, it's shameful. They still tout it as the most successful airlift in American history. When...
Yeah, it's true, even with the deaths.
What the rest of us all saw was true laid before our eyes.
No, it wasn't.
Utter failure, a destruction of a military legacy there, abandonment.
Real quick. Well, listen to that phrase again.
Here, a destruction of a military legacy there.
A destruction of military legacy there in Afghanistan. The military legacy of the American military in Afghanistan was destroyed, according to him, by us leaving at all, much less the manner that we did. Never mind the fact that Trump freed 5,000 Taliban fighters before we even started to remove people at all, but whatever.
Abandonment of our allies.
Abandonment of our allies. You're thinking of the Kurds in Syria.
Death of American troops. Detriment to our reputation.
By an ISIS-K suicide bomber.
And then no answers and no accountability on the other side. And then what was unleashed because of what happened in Afghanistan?
Again, I'd like to be abundantly clear. What he's talking about and what Banks agrees with and what all the Republicans on the Senate Armed Services Committee, with the exception of maybe a couple of the new ones, who I don't know that they put a flag in the ground as far as what their position is. The rest of these fuckers didn't want to leave. They think we should still be there. We should have Bagram and we still should be in control of Kabul, just for the record.
The October 7th attacks, an invasion into Ukraine. The world recognized weakness for what it was.
And it didn't pay off. How did Hamas do? How's Russia doing? If they took that as their cue, they fucked up.
And who bore the brunt for it? The troops on the front lines at Abbey Gate doing an impossible job, whose external security was the Taliban? Because
oh, you mean part of the 5,000 dudes that Trump released?
there was no actual plan for this under the Biden administration.
I'm sorry, Trump had a big, beautiful plan, but he kept it and he wouldn't show it to anybody. So they had to come up with something quick.
And yet, not a single person, the only person held accountable in those moments was a Marine Corps lieutenant colonel who had the courage to stand up and say someone should be held accountable for that. His name is Stu Scheller. No one else involved has ever taken accountability for it. And when that microcosm,
well, certainly not Trump,
becomes the reality of the perception of the American military or America's commitment to victory and success and positive outcomes, the world responds to that. President Trump is going to restore real deterrence by bringing a real warrior culture back, rebuilding our military, and ending wars properly. And if we have to fight them, winning them decisively.
I served in Afghanistan. You served in Afghanistan. 75% of our nation's veterans disagree with how the withdrawal from Afghanistan was handled.
Did they agree with staying in the entirety of the Trump presidency the first time?
The embarrassment of it, what that's done, I believe, has directly impacted our historic recruitment crisis in this country.
No, sticking it around there for 20 years did.
Without a doubt. And you've already
also Republicans voting against the PACT Act, for example.
Already talked about that, but how do we fix it? How do we bring pride back to wearing the uniform for the next generation, to inspire them to do what you and I did, to raise our right hand and take that oath and serve this great country?
I really do think it comes back to strong, clear leadership, patriotic, pro-American leadership that says we're not going to focus
it looks a certain way
on all the other political prerogatives. That's why we all have political.
We have civilian oversight. You're there to be the SecDef. What he's talking about, by the way, this guy is like running to be like in the Joint Chiefs, or like I don't know, like the oversight of it includes all the civilian related aspects of the military and the civilian adjacent aspects.
Perspectives. I said this before and I'll say it again. In uniform, none of that matters. You wear green, you wear blue, you bleed red. That's it. Who you vote for doesn't matter. But when the perception of that changes, then you don't want people deciding whether to serve based on a political party in power. That's a dangerous thing for continuity inside your military.
Which is exactly what's happening right now.
And it's fragile right now. President Trump, and if I'm confirmed with my leadership, we're going to restore the continuity of an apolitical military that acts decisively and only based on merit. They sound basic, but they're fundamental.
You and I agree that wokeness is weakness.
That's that phrase that they keep throwing around. They love it.
Mr. Hegseth, do you support racial quotas in recruitment or promotions in the United States military?
Senator, I do not support any form of racial quota.
Do you support affirmative action in our nation's military academies?
Senator, I only support hiring and promoting and admitting the best and brightest, whatever their background is.
I think that's very important.
What if it's outreach? What if you're not hiring based on it, but you're trying to make sure that people of different backgrounds feel welcome in the military, so that you might get them to join?
Mr. Hegseth, Lloyd Austin, the secretary, later went AWOL. He disappeared for days and never told the president, didn't even inform the president's chief of staff that he was going into the hospital. Would that ever occur on your watch?
No, it would be a drunken bender.
No, Senator. I know in any one of my jobs, if I had decided to go AWOL for even a day or two in uniform or around that, that would have been.
Yeah, obviously not at Fox News. They just counted on it that, from Saturday till Tuesday, you're pretty much
a concern.
I believe accountability matters. No one to this day has ever, as you've said, been held accountable for what happened in Afghanistan. It was embarrassing to this country. It's impacted this country greatly.
Why? I would argue that staying in a day past the point you knew it was a lost cause or unnecessary, that every day except the day we get out is more embarrassing than that. From that day forward to when we leave, each of those days is singularly more embarrassing.
And I applaud you and President Trump for bringing accountability back to our Pentagon. With that, I yield back.
Chair recognizes the...
Okay, and this is, I don't know if this was the, oh, this might.
Clear missions, someone who ends wars decisively, and the issue of Ukraine was mentioned, and ensures new wars are not started. There was a minor incursion under Barack Obama into Crimea, followed by nothing under President Trump, followed by an
They were there the entire time.
all-out assault by Vladimir Putin into Ukraine under the Biden administration. That did not happen under Donald Trump. Donald Trump managed the Taliban under the Biden
Oh, he did. He managed them.
administration. Afghanistan collapsed tragically.
It collapsed tragically, did it? When did that happen? Oh, you mean after we left? After we were supposed to have left years ago?
Ending in the lives of 13 at Abbey Gate, who we remember every single day, and no one was held accountable for that. Chinese spy balloons were flying over the country. None
During the Trump administration.
of that happened under Donald Trump, and our
Yeah, they did.
warfighters understand that. So there's no better recruiter, in my mind, for our military than President Donald Trump. My job is to come alongside him, should I be confirmed, and continue to emphasize his emphasis on warfighting, on getting anything that doesn't contribute to meritocracy out of how decisions are made inside the Pentagon. What gender you are, what race you are, your views on climate change, or whether you are a person of conscience and your faith should have no bearing.
By the way, that's what when he says that, he means pro-life, a person of conscience.
On whether you get...
As if somebody who believes that women should have the right to choose is not a person of conscience. Just clarifying.
Get promoted, or whether you're selected to go to West Point, or whether you graduate from Ranger School. The only thing that should matter is how capable are you at your job? How excellent are you at your job?
So the fact that you worked at 2 charities that for veterans that lost money, and you had to resign from one of them in the wake of a scandal where you paid a woman because she said you sexually assaulted her at a Republican women's conference. That's hierarchy.
Served in multi-ethnic units in every place that I work, every place that I served. None of that mattered. But suddenly we re-inject DEI and critical race theory, dividing troops into different categories, oppressor and oppressed, in ways that they otherwise just want to work together. That's why I've pointed out before, and I'll say it again.
Also, I would love to see the program from this class where they divided troops of color from white troops and said oppressor and oppressed. Seriously.
And because I'm sure it'll be quoted to me at some point. The dumbest phrase in military history is our unity is our strength.
The dumbest phrase in military history is our unity is our strength. Where's that? What's the timing on that? 2:42:41. Somebody remember that. Hold on. Putting that in there. 2:42:41.
To make sure every warrior is fully qualified on their assigned weapon system. Warriors. Our politics. Deterrence. We need real deterrence. Establish deterrence.
Hold on. I'm going to find this.
As I've said to many of you in private meetings, when President Trump chose me for this position, the primary charge he gave me was to bring the warrior culture, laser accountability, and readiness. That's it. That's my job. Returning the Pentagon back to warfighting, that's it. That's my job.
Mr. Hegseth, suspend your remarks. Going
to bring back warfighting, if confirmed, I'm going to work with President Trump and this committee. Of course, in doing so, we will reestablish trust in our military. Is our unity.
Oh yeah, hold on.
The strength of our military is our unity.
Okay, this 40:41, and then we go to 2:42:41.
Troops into different categories, oppressor and oppressed, in ways that they otherwise just want to work together. That's why I've pointed out before, and I'll say it again. and because I'm sure it'll be quoted to me at some point.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to do that, actually.
The dumbest phrase in military history is our unity is our strength.
The dumbest phrase in our military history is our unity is our strength.
Our unity and our share of our military is the strength of our military is our unity.
Cool. The dude's a pro. Hey, you can't argue with it. It only took him 2 hours, almost to the day, or to the minute rather, to fuck up his little phrase. So 40-41, there it is.
The strength of our military is our unity.
Yes, the strength of our military is our unity.
And our shared purpose, not our different.
Sorry, whoops, here it is. 242.
The only thing that should matter is how capable are you at your job? How excellent are you at your job? I served in multi-ethnic units in every place that I went. DEI and critical race. The thing that should matter is how capable are, whether you graduate from Rangers, on whether you get promoted or whether you're selected to go to West Point or whether you graduate.
242-41.
The dumbest phrase in military history is our unity is our strength.
He literally, in his confirmation, fucked up. What he meant is our diversity is our strength, and he fucked it up. Jesus. Hex sues Elon Musk's failure to probably disclose Twitter ownership. Oh, all right. SEC. Oh, nice. Okay. That was the part that I enjoyed the most from the hearings today. Like when he said that, I was like, hey, what?
The dumbest phrase in military history is our unity is our strength.
And I was like, wait a minute, didn't it? What? Huh?
For new defense companies, borders and our skies, emerging technology from the prioritize our reputational Department of Defense in pursuing apolitical. Our standards will be fully qualified on their flying. Leaders at all levels will be held accountable, and warfighting and lethality and the readiness of the troops and their families will be our only focus. This has been my focus ever since I first put on the uniform as a young Army ROTC cadet at Princeton University in
that's, man of the people.
2001.
Sorry, what? Elon bought Twitter too low of a price and has violated security laws. Breaking news. This is, that's awesome. Here, shall we look at this? Andrea, there we go. Hold on. SEC sues Elon Musk, alleging failure to properly disclose Twitter ownership. SEC on Tuesday filed a lawsuit against Elon Musk, alleging the billionaire violated securities law by acquiring Twitter shares at artificially low prices. Musk bought Twitter in 2022 for $44 billion, later changing the name to X. SEC filed a lawsuit against Musk on Tuesday, alleging the billionaire committed securities fraud in 2022 by failing to disclose he had amassed an active stake in Twitter, a secrecy that allowed him to buy shares at artificially low prices. Musk, who is also CEO of this, purchased Twitter for $44 billion. By the way, not by himself. He had other people helping him. The Saudis, Sean Combs, a.k.a. P. Diddy. Prior to the acquisition, he built up a position in the company greater than 5%, which would have required disclosing his holding to the public. According to the SEC's civil complaint filed in the U.S. District Court in Washington, Musk withheld the material information allowing him to underpay by at least $150 million for shares he purchased after his financial beneficial ownership report was due. SEC had been investigating whether Musk or anyone else working for him committed securities fraud in 2022 as the Tesla CEO sold shares in his car company and shored up his stake at Twitter ahead of the leveraged buyout. Musk said in a post in Excellent that issued a settlement demand, pressuring him to agree to a deal, including a fine within 48 hours or face charges on numerous counts. Musk's lawyer, Alex Sparrow, said in an email statement that the action is an admission by the CIA. They cannot bring an actual case. He added that Musk has done nothing wrong. Like, this is what his lawyer's going to say. Musk is just a week away from having potential influence or role in the thing, or being pilloried by Steve Bannon. We'll get to that a little bit later. That's fun. That's, it's fun. That's good stuff. Now, look, I don't want to do the entire show on this dipshit, but I will say that this looked performative to me, and like it was a fait accompli, that they had enough people on the committee to actually get him through, and so this was just a tap dance. That's why they're not going to do another round of questions, because they don't feel like they have to. Now, can I share with you some other lunacy? Because I honestly don't know what the fuck is going on in this clip, and pardon me, but this is Roseanne and her son, and Roseanne's, I guess, letting her gray through, and there's stacks of money here. I don't know why. And it's there's 2 ways to get rich with Roseanne Barr. So we can all learn how to do this. Obviously, it's a good time to be rich because your taxes will be cut to almost nothing, I suppose, under the Trump administration if you're rich. So this would be the time to do it. Sure. There's 2 ways to do it, though. Let's find out.
When this terrorist, so I know you know now. You didn't know earlier when we talked.
Motherfucker's wearing an Orwell shirt. Fuck these guys. I'm so tired of this 1984 bullshit. It's so lazy.
With this terrorist attack in New Orleans, which is horrific, like all terrorist attacks. We'll get to Fort Bragg in a second. I made a joke on Twitter, like, oh, he had an ISIS flag, right? I was like, wait till they blame the Jews. Thought that would be funny. Of course, they started blaming the Jews, right?
Who's they? And who started blaming the Jews about the dude in New Orleans?
And I'm talking about the right. I'm talking about MAGA people that I talk to on Twitter. It's almost possible now. So there has been an infiltration.
They really primed them, man. They primed them with some.
Oh, by the way, yeah, he's saying that MAGA started blaming Jews. That's what made her.
The right. I'm talking about MAGA people that I talk to on Twitter. It's almost possible now. So there has been an infiltration.
They really primed them, man. They primed them with some.
Well, Candace, people like Candace, and again, he's
talking about Candace Owens, who's just full on. Like, the Jews are behind everything now.
I'll let you take this.
And Hitler had a point. That's Candace Owens is amazing. And obviously it gets played up a lot because she's black, and so the idea is that, like, well, if a black lady's saying it, it kind of must be true, because where's her self-interest in supporting Hitler? I don't know. Ask Nick Cannon.
I want to say this real quick. I talk about it all the time. I call it like first level conspiracy, like when you start going, oh my God, Jews run shit. Like, that's true, but that's like first level.
It's true that Jews run shit.
Well, that's like when you get to the Illuminati, like you go to the Masons and you're like, oh my God, I think there's more to it. But it takes.
I'm a Mason. What do you mean there's more to it?
Years when you get deeper and deeper and you see, and then your mind gets blown.
I'm not Jewish, though. I guess maybe that's the thing. Maybe you have to be both to get the special coded ring or something like that.
Every time, right? If you're just at the Jews, you're just getting started on this. And I'm proud that you're looking into stuff. I'm proud that you're researching. My buddies on the right, like, it's cool.
I'm proud that you found your way to blaming the Jews for everything, because that's when you know you're at the starting line.
Cool that you're linking stuff. I'm not.
It's cool that you're linking stuff to the Jews. What?
I'm not sitting here trying to be like, oh, everything's anti-Semitic. Fuck you. Because there's a lot of truth to it. But this is first level. It's like you're looking at the pawns or the foot soldiers in the war. And
yes, the Jews run everything, but they're really just the pawns of who?
We always talk about Switzerland or, the.
Yeah, we do. We do. We don't want to, but we always talk about Switzerland. Sure.
Black nobility, like we had with Sam Tripoli. Like, there's different levels. If you're just stuck at the Jews, you should be kind of embarrassed, honestly, because it's cool that you're open.
You shouldn't be embarrassed because you're an anti-Semitic sociopath, because you're just like, it's like being a freshman.
And you're looking, but you
yes, Lizard Bob is totally David Icke shit.
Stopped, and if you stopped,
the ones at the top though, they do want to get rid of the Jews.
Well, of course.
Well, of course. I mean, that's it. You get rid of the foot soldiers when you're all done, and then you pull the ladder up after yourself, I guess.
The ones at the top.
Yes, both of them are Jewish. Somebody in the chat was asking if Roseanne's Jewish, and so is her son. Yeah.
It's their number one thing they want.
Of course.
Because they don't want to get, they don't like Christians so much neither, but they really don't want
There's a
any
lot
Jews.
more Christians. They have to get rid of 1 billion. Jews are easier to get rid of, and also it's like a
Yeah, it's like the low-hanging fruit. You know what I mean? It's like when you start the conspiracy, the Jews are right there, and then if you're going to wipe out, you're going to depopulate the planet, you start with the small ethnic groups.
patsy. You always set up your patsy, and then you kill them. You have Jack Ruby shoot him in the gut. That's what they're going to try and do to the Jewish people. We know this, and
We do. Yeah, it's just they. Exactly right, Vincent Owens. In the chat room. Just they. Just, by the way, who's they? Not only do they know who is them.
Infiltration within the right is really terrifying because you think right.
If you are in any way involved in the genocide, Israel is killing children on purpose. Groove Dragon, no. And also, there are Arab Israelis.
Wing people that have been through MAGA and with us.
I know, that's why I love that Candace brought out, Candace brought out the USS Liberty, and look how they gobble the shit on that. Look how they gobbled the bullshit on that.
Well, wasn't that true, though? Wasn't Israel behind the Liberty or no?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Why?
I don't know. You tell me. And then we got...
She just said, like, you gobbled it up like it was fake or something.
Well, let's look into it. Let's look into why. Why does Biden...
Also, I don't know at what point we're going to get into there are two ways to be rich.
Make American tax dollars go to buying weapons for Hamas to kill Jews with pay per slay through the UN. Why does he do that?
He doesn't.
And why do they have...
Oh, you mean because the UN put in water pipes and Hamas dug up the water pipes and made rockets out of them, that this was the pay for slay? This is because we should have just let them, I don't know, die of dehydration?
Bibi Netanyahu on their same side, and he always gives up at the fucking end. Why is that?
Why? You tell me. It's your podcast. I don't know.
Yeah, your own son doesn't know what the fuck you're talking about, lady.
Hear this.
Here it comes. I don't know.
Why is it against international law for me to pray at my holiest religious iconographic site on earth? Why can't I pray at my holy place? I don't tell you, you can't circle your black cube 7 times. They're in Mecca. That would be what an imperialist would do. An imperialist would say you can't pray at your holiest site, and you are imperialists. And everybody knows it, and those who don't know it don't matter.
Honestly, I don't know if she's talking to Muslims or she thinks that Biden, because he's Catholic, doesn't.
But wait, why is the USS Liberty? Did Israel do that as a
Well, because the USS Liberty was not clearly marked as an American vessel, for one thing, because it was during a war.
Oh, I thought it was like an honest false. Like I thought Israel did like a burning of the Reichstag on the Liberty. You think it was an
Oh, shit.
accident?
Yeah, that's the USS Liberty was. It was a Reichstag fire, dummy. Sure. And just bring it up out of... Oh, you know what? This is their clip. I didn't pull it.
I thought they did this to kind of garner support. I don't...
There have always been people in this State Department of the United States who don't think that there should be any living Jews in the Levant.
Right.
Always? You mean the evangelical Christians who think Israel only exists so you can box all the Jews in there so Jesus can come back and kill them all? at Armageddon, so that, I mean, those folks, the ones that tried to sneak a nuke into the fucking Temple Mount so that they could blow it up to kind of call God's bluff.
Let alone Europe.
But Israel, you said why? I'm asking why were they behind the USS Liberty, in your opinion? It was an accident?
Israel shot down. Israel attacked a spy boat.
Mm-hmm.
And they want to hide behind everything that it was doing.
Sure. I don't even know why of course, they shot down a spy boat because they wanted to be behind everything that it was doing.
Where they actually have all the, they have the testimony. It's there, so, they can lie about it all they want, but.
Yeah, it's all there.
They have the conversations between the pilots and everybody.
Everybody. Wow. No wonder they shot at a boat that they were on the phone the whole time. Fly the damn plane.
And the guys on the boat and everybody saying.
Obviously. They're calling the people on the boat to tell them they're going to bomb them, and they made a mistake, but it was an honest mistake that they did on purpose, which wasn't an accident.
Warning to come no further because they were in a war. And, it comes out later that perhaps the USS Liberty was spying for Egypt against Israel.
Oh,
Put that in your little brain.
Wow. Oh, that's what I was. So during the USS Liberty, shit. Oh, God. Oh, somebody's asking about the Jack Smith report. I'm going to talk about that tomorrow on the morning show, just so you know, because I do clips in the afternoon, but tomorrow we're going to talk about the report itself. I'm pulling pieces from that. Good stuff. I mean, nothing that we don't know because you guys have been watching my show for a while, but yeah.
And think about it because, of course, we know that.
Yeah, of course. Of course. We know that. I don't have to tell you guys. We know.
So it was not a false flag, in your opinion, by Israel to guard.
False flag.
That's the belief. That's what Candace is talking about, and a lot of the right wingers, like
She's
Israel.
saying it was a false flag.
Well, they say Israel attacked a U.S. ship and then claimed that it wasn't them, and then it was like, "Hey, help us out. We need money. Look, you're under attack by whoever." And that's like the burning of the Reichstag.
That's not a false flag. That's not, strictly speaking, a false flag. It's a subversive attack. You're attacking an American ship and then blaming it on somebody else isn't a false flag. That's just, I don't know. It's a diversionary tactic, but it's not technically a false flag.
I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying I wouldn't.
Oh, but believe me, we know you don't know. We know she doesn't know. We know you don't know. We know what you don't know. Don't worry.
I do know, and it's actually fact. So I do know.
Yeah, dummy. What?
Okay.
And the thing is, it's Israel said we made a mistake, obviously, but it wasn't clearly marked.
Clearly.
And they paid like a lot of millions of dollars to survivors' families to apologize for friendly fire. That's what it was.
Yeah.
They always say false flag when they.
Yeah, if it was a friendly fire situation, that wouldn't be a false flag because you couldn't blame it on anybody else and stuff. So basically, what you're saying is Candace Owens is an asshole.
They made friendly fire a lot of times.
Yeah, conspiracy.
Because they're all full of shit. And
fucking, you know what I mean? Totally.
All they want is, they want that fucking oil for the fucking queen. They want that fucking.
Sorry. Oil for the queen. Is this some sort of like alien hive thing? Oil for the queen. I almost had a grip on what the fuck she was kind of trying to say, and then
oil. They don't give a shit how they have to get it.
Yeah, the oil in Israel and Egypt. All the oil from Egypt. Egypt being big with oil.
Well, what is the infiltration into the right that's now like?
Oh, I know this one. They actually hate the Jews for real.
Kind of, what's the word? Nazi. I mean, it's kind of like, I know that a lot of people already assume right-wingers are Nazi. I've never seen that.
Really?
But I'm starting to see a little, but I've seen on the left too, to be fair.
Oh yeah? Have you seen a lot of left-wing Nazis?
There is this kind of movement, and it's not just anti-Jew. It's something going on that's a little scary that I'm starting to see, and it seems like an infiltration. I think it's
an infiltration. So anti-Jew infiltrators are wrecking MAGA now? Is that where we are?
It's the Muslim Brotherhood. I think it's paid.
I
think it's mind control.
I see. So there's like an MK Ultra of left-wing Nazis who are part of the Muslim Brotherhood that are sneaking into MAGA via a young black lady. Cool. All right. It took me a minute, but now I get it. Now I'm with you. Hey, what?
Fort Bragg's involved. I'm not surprised it was a guy that was a Islamic fundamentalist from Texas that drove through New Orleans. I mean, we see this shit.
Yeah, they're just breeding them. You know, they create kids in labs through torture and.
Okay, yeah. So, sorry. I was. My bad. I was using like Earth One logic. This guy was bred. All right. They're breeding them in labs. Now it took me 7.5 minutes to get to they made this dude in a fucking test tube. So that's what we're saying. That's where we're going with this shit. My fucking God. Back up.
They're just breeding them. You know, they create kids in labs through torture and.
Sorry. Do they torture the scientists, or do they, or are these whoever they're using to procreate to create these kids can only get a boner if they're being whipped? What's happening? What?
Mind control to, put on any hat and act like whatever they want him to act like.
I don't know. What do I want him to? I mean, what? I have. If there's, it's the. Ouch! My brain hurts.
And to do anything they're told.
Well, I mean, obviously, I guess you develop a taste for it after a while.
You don't.
And
think
that's how it works. That's how it fucking works.
Clearly, it's how it works. Yeah, of course.
You don't think he's like Islamic fundamentalist?
No, dude was made in a test tube. He was spanked into existence by anti-Semitic members of the Muslim Brotherhood leftists who've snuck into MAGA and are pretending to be a pretty black lady. Keep up.
I know that's what they use Gaza for. I know in their yank that
in our what? Sorry, are we still on the tortured way of making children? Because don't yank too hard.
The whole fucking leftist NGO Switzerland home of the devil. I know that they.
You know what? I don't even need you to fill in the details. I can see you thinking of some. I can see you going, how am I going to? Don't bother. Don't feel like you have to fill in the gaps at all. We're good. All I need is a spattering of words that make no sense, tenuously tied together with loose, floppy paranoia. That's all I need. I don't need you to fill in the gaps. As a matter of fact, I feel like if you spell it out too much, it takes out some of the fun mystery of it, Because there's no way it's going to be one of these situations where we're like doing a superhero movie and they change the canon and everybody's going to go, wait a minute, he wasn't the Joker the whole time? The guy he was in the cell with is the actual Joker? This is bullshit, right?
Control every penny on earth.
Every penny. So just American currency. Okay, and only in 1 cent denominations. All right, well, there aren't that many of those.
Through the bank.
As long as they don't control the $100 bills.
Of international settlements and.
Through the Bank of International Settlements.
They thought they had a real good setup there. they could just cash in on, first, use anti-Semitism, because it always works, because they invented those religions to help them as a backup for it.
Sorry, anti-Semitism couldn't stand on its own unless it had counterbalancing monotheistic religions. Like, you couldn't just do it with paganism. You couldn't have, I guess, pagans are too accepting. Polytheism, is way too accepting. You got to have a counter monotheistic religion, sure. So the Ahura Mazda crowd from Persia they didn't have a part in this at all, or? Ugh.
Because that's how it always works. You gotta.
Yeah, it always works.
Like, there's two ways you get rich. One is you actually make something of yourself.
Sure, absolutely, prostitution. Uh-huh.
And earn it. And two, you steal it from the Jews.
That seems kind of limiting, I gotta say. Sorry, run that by me again. How many of these? How many?
Because it always works, because they invented those religions to help them as a backup for it.
As a backup, yeah. And
because
then
that's how it always works. You gotta, there's two ways you get rich.
Two ways to make money. You got it.
Rich. One is you actually make something of yourself. And earn it. And two, you steal it from the Jews.
Which one is preferable, though, is what I want to know.
Everybody knows it.
Everybody knows that. There's only two ways to make money in this world. Meritocracy or steal it from the Jews. Okay.
Oh, you see?
That's it. That's bam, out. So now I got to chase down this fucking Candace Owens shit, don't I? Hold on. Let's see. What was it? Candace Owens. I'm going to regret this. USS Liberty. So I speak to Candace Owens. She talked to this survivor of the USS Liberty a month ago. She did an hour show. Yeah, so she did a whole, there's no clips.
All right, you guys, I'll get right into this. A couple of weeks ago, I received a letter that changed my life, certainly changed the course of my life.
So now you're wearing nothing but beige. Excuse me. I know you're betrothed, and so is he, but is that by any chance Obama's tan suit you're wearing? I mean, no. Your life couldn't have changed that much.
In politics, and I am going to read you that letter now.
Fabulous.
And let you know that the author of it is sitting across from me. It reads, My name is Philip Turney. I am 77 years old today. On June 8th, 1967, I was just 20 years old when the gallant crew of the USS Liberty...
Did he send these pictures with him?
...was savagely attacked. Our American flag was proudly flying on our ship in the Mediterranean Sea that day.
So clearly, Roseanne is bullshitting us.
The designation AGTR-5 was clearly painted on the bow, port...
Or just GTR-5, which is, I think, Johnny, Johnny Five's third album.
And starboard sides. USS Liberty was written in English on her stern. When we arrived on June 7th, we were overflown by Israeli reconnaissance aircraft, and the same activity was repeated on the morning of June 8th. We were positively identified as American and friendly by the IDF. We had requested a destroyer escort long before we entered the Mediterranean, but we were denied twice. Our captain assured us that we were clearly marked as American, and we therefore had nothing to fear. We were alone, 12.5 miles off the coast of the Sinai Peninsula, always in international waters. The Israeli reconnaissance aircraft were clearly marked with the Star of David. We therefore felt secure, seeing a flying boxcar and other smaller recon propeller aircraft taking good care of us. The attack began at 2 o'clock on a beautiful, bright, sunny day by French-made Mirage and Mistral jets painted black with no markings. We had no clue who was attacking us, but assumed it was an Arab state. During the first pass-by, The jets took out all but one of our transmitting antennas, as well as every watertight door above the waterline. The air attack lasted about...
By the way, this is a well-known thing, by the way. This is not like she discovered this.
About 25 minutes, killing and maiming our firefighters and any sailor who moved. Our radio man took one antenna offline, so it wasn't transmitting and wasn't hit. He ran a long wire to it, and the SOS went out to the 6th Fleet. It was even picked up as far away as Vietnam. Rockstar, under attack by an unknown jet aircraft. Help us, help us. Captain Tully, skipper of the USS Saratoga, sent jets to come to our aid. Before the jets hit the horizon, they were recalled by Secretary of Defense Robert McNamara. Captain Engin of the USS America and Tully relaunched more aircraft to aid us. They were also recalled, this time by Lyndon Baines Johnson himself. He said, quote, "I don't care about a few dead sailors. I will not embarrass my ally, Israel. Return to base immediately," end quote. How did he know who was attacking us if we did not? We were set up by our own government to let a foreign government have their way with us. The IDF even dropped napalm on the bridge of our ship.
Napalm.
How low they would go?
Napalm? Did she just say napalm?
We would soon find out. 3 motor torpedo boats headed our way, and 1 torpedo hit our starboard side. We saw the Star of David on the boats. They were there to sink us. The attack continued for another hour and a half.
By the way, there's a Wikipedia page on this. This is the U.S. Liberty incident, accident, or intentional attack. That's from Liberty University in 2023. We're fed up. Hold on. Survivors of the USS Liberty look for answers 55 years later. This is partly what's going on. Like, they've been on a writing, thing. Doing this. Why did Israel attack USS Liberty? It's during the 6-Day War. Again, I love how they're like, this has been a big fucking secret. It hasn't.
Jet aircraft destroyed all but 3 of our life rafts, which we had put overboard. We were going to place our most seriously wounded in them so that they would have a chance at life. But the IDF would have none of that. They shot 2 of them out of the water and took 1 aboard their boats as a trophy of the kill. They continued shooting and killing my mates. They left and we thought that it was over, but it wasn't. IDF helicopters were sent with troops armed and ready to board our ship and finish us off. Then they just left. I guess the gig was up when the mighty IDF could not sink our defenseless ship. When it was all done, there were over 821 rocket and cannon holes and over 5,000 armor-piercing bullets riddling the ship. Napalm was burning us up, and a 40 by 40 foot...
Napalm. I mean, can I just say, if anything sums up her kind of like weird ignorance about all this, it's her pronunciation of napalm. Napalm. What the fuck? Notice the divers looking at it. Notice the footage of it. Notice the, we know.
Torpedo hole was in her side, causing the ship to list badly to our starboard side. We then waited 17 hours for help. I guess they hoped that we would sink that night. Help was only 40 minutes away from us, but they left us out alone to die. When the USS America and the USS Davis arrived to help us, they took our wounded to care for them. Their wounds were so horrific, words cannot explain. Admiral Kidd boarded our ship a few days later.
So, I'm sorry, what did the doctors do? Did they just go... Their wounds, you couldn't explain their wounds, so people were like... The doctors just... Fuck me.
Cover-up immediately began. We were ordered to never speak of the attack to anyone, not even with one another.
How did it get on Wikipedia then?
Penalties would be fines, imprisonment, or worse, and we all knew that worse meant death.
No, you didn't.
We have been treated like garbage for the last 57 years. Congress
no, you haven't.
Has been bought and paid for, with the exception over the years of a few brave lawmakers. Their names are Representatives Pete McCloskey, Paul Findley, and Jim Traficant. As the courageous Rep. Thomas Massey has noted, all Republican members of Congress except for him have AIPAC handlers. We can assume this is also true of nearly all Democrats. We are the most
nearly
decorated ship in naval history for a single engagement. I believe God saved us that day to allow us to communicate the truth of this attack to leaders like you. We give all power to Jesus Christ.
This is a letter that she got.
We are just his servants.
Leaders like you. This guy calling Candace Owens a leader like you.
It's that horrible day and now. The USS Liberty survivors are the biggest whistleblowers this country has ever seen.
Except we know about them, and we have for a long time.
We have been smeared as anti-Semitic, Jew haters, and Nazis. Our only sin is that we survived. We didn't kill anyone. Israel did all the murdering that day, and the U.S. government did all the covering up. I'm asking you to help us save America by telling others the facts about the slaughter of my mates. We are begging you to support us, respectfully.
What? Sorry. Let's be abundantly clear. Candace Owens didn't get access to fucking footage like this, and nobody with a tombstone that says killed USS Liberty June 8th, 1967, because it was fucking covered up in that regard. It might have been downplayed because it was sensitive at the time, but like, who doesn't know about the, oh God.
Phil Turney, the president of the USS Liberty Veterans Association. Great honor to have you here today.
Thank you, Candace. It's a great honor for me to be here and represent the gallant crew of the USS Liberty that have been treated so badly, as I said in the letter, for 57 years.
So I just want to start just really at the beginning, I guess. When did you sign up to be in the United States military?
All right. Again, this is going to be like her just kind of doing a relatively standard interview. This is a month ago. Personal announcement. Join Hallow's Advent Prayer 25 Challenge and get 3 months. What? Oh, because of her church or something? Is that the... I don't know. Anyways, like, that's where this went. She's wearing her dad's suit jacket. Yes, absolutely. Honest to God, like, it's not hard to wrap your head around why she and others like her fixate on this horse shit. And I only have a few minutes left, or I'd get it. I mean, it's an hour-long podcast, and nobody needs to hear her shit for that long. It's just aggravating. So let's end on something serious, shall we? You know, there's a lot going on in this world, and I think the something that has depth, like Theo Vaughn and Joe Rogan getting into smelling salts just to fuck with themselves. This is I don't know. This is why we have to ban TikTok.
Do you think demons are real?
Do I think demons are real? Do you think demons are real?
Oh yeah, I believe that I believe that there's good and evil.
Yeah, I do too.
And some of it I believe might be our own individual wars, you know? And I believe that there could be a group war. I'm amazed that at a group level, we don't start to say, hey, this stuff is evil and let's not do it, right? But
you mean like smelling salts, or?
I think that's where like temptation and all that comes in, and
which is a great Prince song.
Yeah, I think it's pretty fascinating. Sometimes I'll wake up and look at my life as,
dude, I look like, sometimes I'm like, there's shit, and there's like, I'm always amazed by the stuff I don't know.
Like, wow, this is a war I'm in. And I am the guy who's leading my vessel or whatever, you know.
Yeah, you're the guy that leads your vessel, the admiral of your sinking shit.
There is.
Doing my best, doing my best.
That is kind of what it is. There's a lot of that, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of that, being the admiral of your thing when you're fighting the person of your ship.
You're in a war of choices. You're in a war of decisions. And
That's right. Everything's a war. It's a fucking struggle. Everything's a war. That's what it is. Like, whether can I hold it, or should I should I pull over and use the restroom, or should I wait till I get home? It's a war. Let's see. Should I open up my app and doom scroll Twitter, or should I take the garbage out? It's like, my God, everything's a fucking war. And these guys know war. That's why they're sitting in a fucking, I don't know, in Tucker Carlson's outhouse.
War of good behavior and detrimental and destructive behavior.
Yes, that's that. I always feel like that's the that's the fight that's going on. The war between good behavior and detrimental behavior. Not bad, just detrimental, inadvantageous, as it were.
And especially guys like you that have gone through periods of addiction. That's always a war of temptation in your mind. There's always going to be that there. There's always going to be smelling salts.
Oh, I'll hit it.
There's always going to be smelling salts to bring you. This is the dark road. Everybody wants to talk about gateway drugs. Oh, don't you bring out a new one, you son of a bitch. This one's strong enough, Jamie. Let's check.
Is that
Let's make
strawberry?
Sure this one's strong. No.
I'm trying to find flavored
The
ones.
thing is, they're so scary when they bring the new ones out. Like, I'm scared of the new ones. Oh, this one's so strong.
It is?
Oh, my God. This is
Bro,
so
I
strong.
can already feel a little of that.
God.
So basically, this is like straight dudes doing poppers.
Let me ride.
You know what the difference is, Jamie?
Let me ride.
Let me ride, he says.
You know what the difference is? This one, I kept this on it. I didn't even realize I was doing it, but I kept that on it, and then it was sealed.
I'll lay on my back in 69. This thing, brother. It's already going to be strong, Joe.
How
Quiet.
strong is that?
Don't look at me when I do it.
Hit it.
I didn't.
And I got 2 words for you. Thought leaders. Yeah. Mm-hmm. There's a genuine argument that Trump's road to the White House was right through his show and Joe Rogan's show.
Get enough.
You didn't get enough.
Nope. Hold
Really? You didn't inhale. You got scared. You missed.
You're right.
Oh my God! Oh my God! No! You don't do that. You don't do that. What you just did scared everyone.
Take a break. I'm sweating.
I'm sweating too.
Because of that.
Sorry.
How are you? Are you okay? Bro, you just changed timelines. Because of you, Justin Trudeau resigned. Because of that.
Give me another hit.
Before you did that, it was a different timeline.
Oh, I want something all the fucking time, dude. Yeah. I want to fucking.
Want another sniff?
I wish I had that trach hole. I'd just fucking.
Want another sniff?
Boof shit right into my neck all day. Yeah, I'll take
ready?
whatever you got, boy.
Here we fucking go.
Look at this. Like, let's remember that this started with Joe Rogan having alleged sympathy for the fact that Theo Von is an addict and has an issue, and now he's basically like tapping him off. These are smelling salts, by the way, not bath salts, which are different, but they're just huffing this shit for the jack of it. This is like when I was a kid in Kentucky, one of the things we used to do was I don't know if you'd call it like a strength challenge or something, but we'd take a pencil eraser and you just rub it on your skin until you couldn't take it anymore, and literally we'd have blisters from doing it, and it was just fucking redneck dumbass shit, right? It's the same thing. That's what this is. That's what these guys are doing.
I heard a buddy the other day saying he's sober. Oh, you're in, dude.
Oh.
Wow. You look like a Jets fan.
Also, why the fuck do they have like containers of smelling salts around? How the fuck did this start?
I'm like looking at fireworks right now. My eyes are closed. It's just fireworks.
What? Honestly, what the fuck is this?
Oh yeah, give me some
dying
of
off. Ooh,
Katy
fireworks.
Perry dust, buddy. Oh, Joey, you want to see me ride it, don't
Imagine
you,
if Katy Perry takes her panties off.
And
that's it.
Oh no. And I shouldn't have said the first part either because she's
But he
married.
said Katy Perry does this. Yes, be respectful.
I am, and
Well, let's imagine not a real Katy Perry, but a robot Katy Perry, because that's coming.
Yeah, and we met Catherine Perry, who grew up down
Different
the,
gal.
Yeah.
She's from Toledo.
Totally,
She's
yeah.
the girl that got body slammed. Take a snap. Oh, you went deep, son. You went so deep. You got that into your hairs. Here, give me that back before you hurt yourself.
Call
You wanna go
money.
again? You were reluctant to give it back. You were thinking about going again.
I'll fucking go again, boy. Huh?
Really?
Yeah, dude.
Again, this is. Why are we watching this? It's a good question. This is a 4-minute, 55-second clip. Because this is what the rest of it's like. This is what the rest of. This is. You want to see the essence of the Joe Rogan experience? This is it. all this DMT mushroom bullshit, weed and cigars and fine whiskey and whatever, it all boils down to just a fucking cock measuring contest between dipshits over who can take the biggest hot whiff of smelling salts. What's the difference?
Okay, I'll do one more little one.
Yeah, it's Jackass 2025, totally.
I'm gonna do a big one, dog. We ready. We ready. We're gonna.
When you shake it. Oh my God, what have you done?
Play the pipes, Joey Rogan. There's your aliens, Joe.
Jesus, son.
What the fuck? Is this just in case, like, when they're done fucking Alex Jones, they're worried he won't wake up?
Oh, fuck it.
So they always have him on hand?
She'll turn you into a raccoon, baby boy. Dude, you know the worst thing was?
Yeah, that this is what your life has culminated to?
Besides that,
your eyes, when you close your eyes, did you see fireworks?
Jesus Christ. It's like fucking, it's like two 14-year-old redneck dudes who got into mom's medicine cabinet. This is fucked up.
Yeah.
Like when I closed my eyes, it was like my whole, it was all lit up.
Good Lord. Just, and again, these are the podcasts that Trump went on. Those are the guys. He had to go like genuflect at the feet of both of those two assholes, and it worked. It fucking worked. Why again? Like PCT and everybody's like, why are we watching this? Because this is a real fucking thing, and it's indicative. It's indicative of this kind of stuff, right? It's indicative of Trump's path, or the standard by which people are, you know, are saying, you know, this is entertainment of value, right? Where the fuck is my? Oh, there it is. It's over here. Hey, let me tell you what, man. Shit. I was watching. Okay, you had me at that Candace Owens thing, man, because she's wearing that fucking Obama tan suit like it was like she's dressed like she would what that Diane Keaton outfit in that old Woody Allen movie or something like that. And that's pretty and stuff. And then you fucking lap loop me into watching Theo Vaughn and fucking Joe Rogan doing like low res huffing. Fuck that, man. I don't want to see nothing until you are mainlining fucking pepper spray while somebody shoots you with a burner full of fucking tear gas, you pussy. I don't buy that at all. These guys are acting all tough. And why don't you just get buck naked and choke each other out, you weirdos? God damn, man. Beware. Look, I don't need to tell you guys this, because you know. But let me tell you what, buddy. Never go over to a feller's house when he's all stocked up on smelling salts, because there's a reason for it, and you don't want any part of it. Either you're going to need to use them on him, or he's going to use them on you, and you're going to wake up with your pants on backwards and fresh stitches. I'm telling you what, do not, okay? Do not. I've missed you guys too, man. But you know what I missed more than anything was that kidney thing. What? Hey.
The kidney has a very special place in the heart.
What kind of stupid shit? Thank you guys so much. Hit the like, please. I'll see you guys tomorrow, and we will be talking about the Jack Smith report. I'll be going through part of it tomorrow. And then, of course, Phil Bittner joining us from Ukraine as well. Like and share the show and the clips and all that kind of stuff. Appreciate you guys. Thank you. And don't sniff smelling salts. Do not. If you need smelling salts, someone else will administer them. You're not a part of the equation. If you're awake, you don't need them.